Hello and welcome to Unapologetics, the podcast where we read a religious article and explain why it's stupid. I am Brently, and here with me we've got a special guest. We got Chris from the Postmodern Polymaths Podcast. That is a fun one to say. I have to. that's- I like that
Yeah,
name.
well, we like to call it a triple po for short
There you go. The triple po. That's good.
because I'm
Yeah, you're
super
right.
clever. Yeah, super clever.
It is po three times. That's okay. Yeah, that adds up. But so we were talking and we found this article. We were talking about this whole after school Satan club thing that's going on right now, right? And I was I was like, when you brought it up, I was like, oh man, I bet you I can find a Christian article about this, and that'll be kind of fun, because I see a lot of like articles about it, but it's just sort of like explaining what's going on, rather than like I kind of want to hear in the article the outrage, of their side, And so, what better place to go to for outrage articles than Fox News?
Always the best.
Every time, yeah. Usually, I mean, for the most part, they usually do just white supremacists articles, but this time it's that and Christian, so that's cool.
Well, they
Like
just
they're
it just depends on what pisses whatever the old boomers sitting around at home are are the
right.
most pissed off about at the moment because that's their target audience is basically old people sitting around watching TV. That's
Right. Yeah. And it's funny too because they say like, oh, it's they got the highest watched show, and then but they have to complete the sentence, right? Because it's the highest watched show or the highest numbers like watching live television. you know, because
well,
nobody fucking watches live television anymore,
I
except
mean,
for old people.
it blew my mind that Gutfeld. You got to have the exclamation mark. I don't know if
Right.
you ever watched it, but he's the most, and he is hands down got the most viewers. That time
Really?
slot.
Holy
Greg
shit.
Gutfeld. He is painfully unfunny.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Yeah, it's so
Even as
I
a conservative, he's fun. He's unfunny for a conservative, and that's saying something.
and that's hard. Like, really, I mean, with if you're a conservative and you you have permission to just be an ass, you know what I mean? And usually if you have that kind of permission, you can find some humor in some crazy places. But he gets nowhere near it. He even like starts out his show with like a little fucking rhyming thing
Yeah,
that he does. Like what is the point of this? Like he's just like I don't know, it's like slam fucking poetry every time he like starts the show.
he wishes he was that fucking talented. Shit.
Yeah, he'd get the onions thrown at him at the slam poetry reading there. So this is Fox News, right? Oh my god, and there's an Answers in fucking Genesis ad at the top of the page. Oh
Oh,
man,
dude,
this could not be more perfect.
that's like one of my OG back in the day when I started being an atheist. Answers in Genesis was like one of the first things that I laughed at. I think.
Oh yeah, right, because it's silly. It's the silliest, craziest shit ever. And yeah, and I would cover it more, but it's like they don't really have a whole lot of articles. Like all their articles are like from like 20 years ago and shit. Like,
Well, you don't. There's nothing else. I mean, they have that stupid park in Kentucky, which I actually need to go to.
oh
I don't
really?
want to pay for it, but
Right, but I would like to see it. It does sound kind of fun, kind of
I want to
interesting.
see the ark that supposedly is real, even though when it rained too hard, it fucking flooded or whatever.
Yeah, their arc park like flooded. That shit is so
Yeah.
funny. Yep, kind of shows that it's probably all just bullshit, you know.
Where's your God now?
Right? Your god couldn't keep it from flooding in the Ark encounter. Come on. But so this the name of the article is called "After School Satan Club Takes New Aim at Arch Enemy Christian Clubs for Kids." That's their arch enemy.
Well,
uh,
it's created very specifically to go against the good news clubs, which are Christian after school uh, things or whatever. Um,
Yeah, they're like,
Yep.
because they can't stop you from having a religious group after school, right? Like they can, because it's not coerced necessarily, right? And it's not,
Yeah, they
they're
have
not
to.
pushing it,
They have to.
right?
It's not within the. It's not at school, so they can within whatever their laws are. They have to allow it as long as it's not harming anybody or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and they mention some the Supreme Court ruling. So I think ever since
Yeah,
then,
yeah. I actually wrote it when I was doing a blog post. I wrote about that when that Supreme Court shit got handed down. Secular people are all over that shit. That's why you hear about secular people and fucking Satanists want to do invocations and shit because of
oh,
that. Because of that, Greece. I forgot what it town of Greece versus. So I don't remember the case name, but it very specifically comes from that.
oh, okay.
They open the door wide open for literally anybody to do it, give an invocation.
Oh, I see. So they
So
basically said you have to let them give an
yeah,
invitation.
and yeah, and they're big mad now, but because they opened that door, oh no, Satanists! What did they think was going to happen?
Right.
You idiots.
I mean, I'm surprised that, there aren't more like Muslim groups and stuff coming out to be like, yeah, we'll pray to Allah or whatever.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, because they are persecuted and they will get violence towards them. So that makes a lot of sense to me, actually. Why they wouldn't do that?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they kind of got a big target on their back since they happen to be a religion that is mostly brown people. So yeah, just right there is enough to
Oh
to
yeah,
get some of
yeah,
these crazy towns after your race.
yeah, yeah.
And then you want to be talking out loud in front of people too about your religion? No, no, no,
No.
not gonna allow that. Jesus. So here I'll just we'll start going through this. So it says the Satanic Temple is fighting against Christian focused after school clubs, and children are in the crosshairs. Yeah, like
Off the top, that was unnecessary loaded language.
right.
No need for that.
I know, right? It's so funny because they use the term fucking crosshairs, and it's like the people that are like telling everybody it's not a big deal when
They
kids
love
are actually,
violence. They
yeah,
love it. They love gun metaphors, anything to do with guns. They have them on their Christmas cards. They probably got dildos, prostates. And no shame. I don't kink shame, right?
no, yeah, play with your
But
dildos. That's fun.
you
It's a
do
good day.
what you do. You need to keep that shit. Just like your religion, you need to keep that to yourself. Okay. I
Yeah,
don't. You do what you do. I just don't want to fucking see it.
exactly. That's it. So the Satanic Temple recently opened an after-school Satan club in Moline, Illinois, elementary school as part of its nationwide campaign to push back against the Christian Good News clubs offered to school children after regular hour classes. So I disagree with their wording here. I mean, it I kind of is to push back, I guess, but it's
It
supposed
is.
it's I
It
mean, but
is.
it's supposed to like show them that they if they're gonna do this, the law has to be applied evenly, and that's kind of just the whole point, right? It's just to be like,
Well,
hey,
I mean, you can say what you want about the Satanic Temple, and I got my own issues, but when it comes to trolling Christians, they're very good at that.
oh
And
yeah,
now that they have the religious exemption now, they very specifically started doing this because of the good news clubs. I can tell you that off the top. When
right. Well, there's no
shit was
other
struck
option.
down, when that shit was struck down, they said, "Oh, fuck you, we're all going to do it now."
Because we were basically trying to stop them from being allowed to have any groups after school, right? Like we were trying to say, like it has to be
No,
like a mutual group or something,
yeah,
like
yeah. Either you have none or you have all. You can't have it both ways.
right. And that's where they push, like, and I guess you could say they're just leaving an option open for the non-religious kids.
Oh
Uh,
shit,
but
bullshit.
fair and balanced, man. Fair and
They're just trying
balanced.
to sneak that shit in there. They don't give a fuck. They want a theocracy. I mean, that's just pure and simple.
Yeah, no, that is that has become very apparent lately. But so it says The satanic parents protested outside the Jane Addams Elementary School in Moline when the first after-school Satan Club met there last month. Last Thursday, a few people came out to protest the club's second meeting as well. It's crazy too, because like they would freak out if people were like just showing up to their good news club to just protest. You know what I mean? Just be like, "Fuck your Christianity," and have like your signs and stuff that say,
Yeah,
"Go
but
home,
we got more
Christians," or something.
sense. We got more sense than that. Most people got more sense, just in general. I mean, what? Ugh, God. It's
Yeah.
just, it's just so ridiculous, man. Like how much you gotta preach the word of Jesus. I think we know the word of Jesus. You've been fucking blasting it at us for fucking how long? Since the birth of this country. I
Right.
think we're good. I think we're good.
We got it. We
Thanks.
got it. Yeah, exactly. But so the Satanic Temple, which runs the program, says students would be offered activities such as science and crafts projects, puzzles, and games, and that they would learn about benevolence, empathy, and critical thinking, problem solving, and creative expression too. All good things. So all sounds good to me. Lucian
Wait,
Grieve. Oh, what's up?
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Lucian Graves. Now, Lucian Greaves is, or Graves, I guess it is. I'm not sure. Um, but he's the dude. He's like got. He looks crazy awesome, dude. Like, he just looks like a James Bond like villain or something. It looks like he's got like the one dead eye. He's always like wearing like leather and shit. You know, he fits the role. We'll just put it that way.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
But the Satanic Temple spokesperson told Fox News that about the clubs, "I'm hoping that with our presence, people can see that good people can have different perspectives, sometimes on the same mythology, but not mean any harm." I, I feel like he's like you're like that sounds like a troll to me
No,
because they're
that whole
saying like
thing's a troll. The whole thing is.
yeah, because I mean, he's saying like, oh yeah, we have different perspectives of the same mythology. Yeah, that it's not true, right? That it's mythology and not real. But
Yeah, that's what they're trying to sneak that in there, like they don't think it's 100% the truth. And
right,
Jesus, and there's a literal Satan just like hanging out and shit.
yeah, because that's the thing. Like, so many people think that Satanists are like, you know, literally worshiping Satan, doing magical spells. You know, I always heard it get like kind of compared to like Eastern mysticism. You know what I mean? Like the chakras and meridians and all that type of stuff. But it doesn't actually have anything to do with that. That's like a whole nother thing.
It doesn't really matter either way. They don't care. They just know they're trolling him. They can't take it.
Yeah.
I think.
And I don't think they have any idea that they're being trolled at all. They're just like, you know, they think this is completely uh like they're gonna, you know, get the kids to start worshiping Satan or some shit. Uh, so Graves also said, "We're not including items of religious opinion. We're not teaching children about Satanism. They're just going to know that this is taught by Satanists." So basically, he's saying like we're not even trying to push our thing, you know. We just we're just the people doing it. We're not going to be sitting here and teaching them our religion or anything.
Yeah, that's their whole thing, right? Basically, if you open the door, that means we're going to come through and challenge you. You know, that's all this was even about.
Right.
Uh, was the whole challenging Christians or their whole supremacy of religion in this country or whatever.
Right,
So
which yeah, and they've had like a a hold on, you know, the country at large, it seems, and religion at large in this country anyway for the longest time.
oh yeah, since the Puritans.
Right, yeah. We all know how how wonderful their leadership turned out to be.
They outlawed Christmas. You know that?
Oh shit, oh, that was them. That's right. Yeah, because they
It's so crazy to me. Like
yeah,
people who would say shit now, Christ is in the name. Like they wouldn't. They fucking hang your ass probably for even talking about Christmas.
Right? Yeah, it almost reminds me of like the Jehovah's Witnesses. Like they're not allowed to celebrate shit.
They're weird.
Yeah, but it's so funny too, though, that it was like the Puritans that ended up doing that. Now it's seen as a largely religious holiday, but the Puritans were like, no, is there anything like pagan about it at all? Oh, we're gonna bring like trees inside to celebrate the longest day of the, or the what is it, longest day of the year or whatever. Oh no, that's pagan. Or shortest is a short. My bad. Yeah. But yeah, no, I can't have any. That's pagan, So no, that's crazy. But so contrary to the good news of Jesus Christ.
All right, well there we go. There we start.
Here
we go. Here we go.
This is the subtitle within here. So Reese Kaufman, president of Child Evangelism, which operates the Good News Clubs, said of the Satanic Temple, I cannot tell you what's in their hearts, but they certainly are doing work that would be contrary to the good news of Jesus Christ. What the fuck does that even mean? They're doing work. They're working for the devil.
Yeah, it's if it's not ours, then it's the devil, basically.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that it freaks. It's almost like that term that freaks me out. People use the term non-Christian. Like that's all there is, right? There's just Christians and non-Christians, and that's it. That's can put every human into two groups. It's crazy. I'm just
basically
like it's that fucking fundamental. Jeez Louise. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in June 2001 that religious groups could operate after-class programs in public schools. Good News Christian clubs are now in about 5,000 schools nationwide. Jesus. An Adams school spokesman released a statement saying it was not endorsing the Satan Club or the Good News Club, which is smart of them to say that, by the way.
They had to.
Right. Yeah, because they don't want to be pushed on either side of this argument because they're like,
they want the money. They don't have to pay the money to litigate.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's exactly.
And that's happened before. That has happened where people refuse, like FFRF is a different thing, but they will put up stuff in their school and rather than just, take it down or something, they'll fucking fight it in court even though they're going to fucking lose. And get the taxpayers to pay for it.
God, what a waste. Holy shit. Ugh, how lame. I could see them doing that though. That makes, they always want to play the victim and shit. Yeah. But all right, let me see here. Oh yeah, because the Supreme Court's decision, it could not turn down any group that wanted to start an after-school program. It said so. Yeah, because of that, the Supreme Court ruling, they have to allow just anybody, just whoever shows up, right?
Right. Yeah.
So last month, Fox News Digital. Now this is a digital one, so reached out to the Adams School District for comment about the Satan Club in Moline. A spokesperson said a flyer that had been placed within the school building was legitimate, but she stressed it was not generated by the district, not distributed to all students, and not affiliated with any teacher in the district. I wonder if they go out of their way to say that same shit.
Exactly.
When it's the Good News Club, they don't, it's funny. Candace Soundtress, communications director, also said the community use of the school facility after hours is approved by the Board of Education in accordance with the Illinois school code. So yeah, they're just like, we're just following the rules, y'all. That's what we're doing. And it's like, yep, that's it. But Kaufman of Child Evangelism recently told Fox News, we're not trying to be against anyone. We're simply trying to take the biblical good news of the gospel to the children. That you are against people, though, man. That's why we have to do this shit, because if you have, I don't know how explicit they get in those things about like what, the Bible says or not, but that they're going to be treating gay people differently. especially trans people and stuff right now, because of websites like this one, and their news channels that have just basically, endorsed the Christian hate for pretty much anybody that's in the
Well,
LGBTQIA.
really, none of that is pertinent. Honestly, the main thing to me is brainwashing children. Right.
True. Yeah.
So, child evangelism. That's all that I need to hear. Child evangelism means you're fucking brainwashing children into believing. Why do you think they're so upset about the after Satan school shit? Because they know that's how you get kids, because they've been doing it for how long?
Right.
Come on. You
Exactly.
get them when they're kids and you fucking brainwash them. They know that. That's why they're freaking out about it.
Well, and you're right, because I mean, it's odd how you have because you have the two different types of indoctrination, right? You have the indoctrination when they're young, right? And it works because they're young, so they don't have a lot of critical thinking and whatnot. But the type of indoctrination is when people are desperate. It's weird that people will do just about anything for a community when they're homeless and down on their luck or whatever it is, or addicted or whatever it might be.
Oh, that makes me so mad when they do that shit.
It's sick.
That's what I never trust, these Christian charities. Now, I don't want to say all of them. There are plenty who aren't, and I don't want to, downplay that. But there are people who very specifically bring their Bible shit with them. Right.
Yeah. I remember we did, I was raised super duper Christian and everything. And I remember we would do feeding the homeless things, right? And we would get all this pizza out there, but that was like a secondary thing. Like, we didn't actually give a shit about the pizza, right? It was all just to get people there, and they would bring the pizza out before they started talking. Then they do an hour and a half sermon where they wouldn't let anybody touch the pizza until after they listened to the entire sermon. By the time they got to it, it's and it was fucking, it was like Little Caesar's cardboard pizza anyway. And then it's cold cardboard. It's just
food. I mean,
yeah, and I think that was why the people that were there, because they're like, whatever, man, it's better than the no food that I have today, but it's still some bullshit that they have to sit there and deal with all that just to eat, some food, so that these people can feel better about themselves for lying to, lying to everybody about their religion and whatnot.
Oh, they're not lying; they're telling the truth, which is that's the problem.
Right.
Your religion is bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't realize that they're lying. So the Satanic Temple says it's really an atheist organization, despite listen here. They're like, they say they're atheists, but they're stupid and wrong. Despite a statue depicting its leader as a tall human with a goat's head. Sorry, you stop being a human when you have a goat's head, dude. I don't know what that is, but it's not a human.
How do you know? How the fuck do you know? Have you ever been a goat man? No. Go find you a goat man before you make that judgment, man. Jesus Christ! Don't we have enough prejudice in the world without you casting aspersions on goat men?
You're right. They're probably 3/5. No, I'm just kidding. Not funny. All right. Jesus. That's why you don't do that, because it's sick. Anyway, goat's head and horns, and two children looking on adoringly. It says its followers don't believe.
That's a little creepy. But I see what they're doing. But
yeah, the kid thing does kind of freak me out a little bit. I mean, it's kind of weird. And for some reason, they showed a drawing here. There is an actual statue. I don't know why they're. Oh, maybe that's in the coloring book or something.
The coloring book. I remember covering this way back when this shit, whenever that ruling came out. I was on one of my old podcasts, and we talked about the coloring book is off the chain. You need to go look at that coloring book.
Oh man, I'll have to check it. They have it online.
I never got one. I need one.
Oh man, yeah. That would be really cool. I might have to order. Are they on Amazon? I can order it on there.
Fuck, they probably got it on their site somewhere. They're all about fucking getting their shit out there, which is fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. No, that's awesome. I did. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I remember somebody talking about the coloring book, but it just now dawned on me. Oh, that's from that. Yeah. Okay. And for them, the devil is simply a symbol of defiance, independence, wisdom, and self-empowerment. Yeah, because it's just a symbol. We don't believe, they don't believe that he's real. But at the end of the day, I actually kind of like that they did pick Satan and everything, because if you like read the whole Genesis story, like Satan was the only one that wasn't a bad person in that. He was the one that told the truth. God was the one that lied. He was like, on this day, you will surely die. And the day came and went, and they did not die. And Satan said straight up, "You're not going to die. You're just going to become like God." And in that regard, he was right too, because God knew the difference between good and evil, and they didn't at that point. So therefore, in that particular context, Satan was telling the truth. God was lying. So just saying. But the Bible, however, so this
Well,
is where
they
we
don't. Well, it's not the Bible. They're not using the one based in the Bible anyway.
the what the Satan from the Bible.
Yeah, that's not there. It's symbolic and all that bullshit.
Oh, okay.
It's not the biblical Satan, but that's what
Oh,
Christians want to keep saying. But it's a representation of the ultimate adversary. Satan means adversary in like Hebrew or some shit.
oh,
And
okay.
it's the ultimate adversary. Free will and all that shit. That's what it's supposed to symbolize.
And isn't it like, as far as I understood too, isn't it like a narrative form of the word adversary? Like, oh, it'd be like comparable to like when we say bad guys, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
no,
like John McClane shoots a bunch of bad guys, right? Like that's like narratively, in a narrative form, adversary is
well,
like
that's the worst thing you can be, right? Against Jesus is an adversary. That's the worst thing you can be is speaking against it,
yeah,
right?
that is true. Yeah. According to them, yeah, absolutely. Shit, they don't
So
like you
yeah.
to say, even if you say Jesus is not absolutely perfect, that's offensive to them.
Oh, if
So
that's offensive, I got some other shit for her ass. Go look at some of my memes and see what I'm talking about. Although I have calmed down from my angry atheist phase, but I've been coming back because I'm
yeah,
sick of seeing all this fucking straight up theocratic shit everywhere.
right, yeah.
It's
And
fucking scary, man. Some of this shit's downright.
right, and with the like what you're talking about with the theocratic shit, like, isn't it? So answer me this real quick. Like, I don't know what their like belief system is exactly, but are they saying that they think that everybody should have to be a Christian, like by a government mandate? Is that like theocrat, like, or is it just based on?
The extreme evangelicals want a theocracy, want what you just said, rule by theocrats, rule like fucking Iran,
Okay,
basically.
yeah, huh?
Except
Shit.
as Christian and not. And they always try to talk around it. Act well. We don't really mean that. No,
Right.
you absolutely. They catch them on all the time on tape, saying exactly what they fucking want, and that's what they want.
Yeah,
They
and they want to be able to criminalize sin, right?
they want to kill. They want gay people. Let's not beat around the bush. They want them dead. They want
Yeah.
them, and not just trans folk. And they tried this with whatever they can LGBT folk. They want y'all dead, and that's why we need to stay on that shit. And
Hell
they're poisoning everything else in this conversation. That's the only thing the GOP has. Sorry, I won't get into politics.
yeah. No, it's all right. Yeah, I mean, it's totally fine. That is very political. I mean, we're on Fox News, man. Like, it's
Well,
almost
yeah,
difficult
but
to not be political. But no, I feel you, man. Like, and it seems to be, them really wanting to, like you said, they want them dead. But it's weird because they'll never actually say that. You notice that? I'm like, because what is your end? Because like they keep on going on about like trans people and you can't have this and you can't do that and you can't, sex and gender are the same, whatever. And I'm always just like, okay, what's your point? Like, what's your end game here? Like, what are you trying to say? Are you saying they shouldn't be allowed to exist, or they shouldn't be allowed to exist the way that they are? Or what? Like, what are you actually trying to? Because it always messes them up because they just want to be mad about it, but they don't really have a end game. They don't have like, well, I don't know what
Oh,
laws to put in place.
They
but
absolutely do have
like,
an end game, sir. Their end game is to make themselves the law. Make no mistake, this is theocracy. It's a theocratic movement. If they had their way, everybody would be Christian. Atheists would be dead. LGBT folk would be dead. Muslims, I mean, again, go look at Iran.
yeah.
It'd actually probably be worse than Iran, come to think of it.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
So
yeah.
that's exactly what they fucking want. So don't let it's fascist. It's basically it's theocratic fascism. They put that in there with all the white supremacy shit too. So that's kind of entered the mix. So it's great, good stuff,
But
man.
the sad thing is though, it's not sad, but it's just crazy that they won't ever say that either though. It's always this, I'm like, I want a thing that I'm not allowed to say because that'll make me look like a bad person for wanting a thing. But you know what I mean? It's so weird. Like they'll never actually come out and say it. That's why I always try to pin them to the wall with that. Like,
that's been their strategy from like with the Southern strategy with Nixon.
Right.
Or
yeah, where they were like,
Reagan.
Was it Reagan? Yeah.
No, fucking Reagan went to open his campaign. And sorry, we're getting off track, but it's kind of important that the 1980 campaign, the first place he went was Philadelphia, Mississippi. Do you know what happened in Philadelphia, Mississippi?
No, what's it?
Fucking Emmett Till was killed. No, not Emmett Till. Sorry. And I can't ever get their names right. The Freedom Riders. Two white guys and a black dude were murdered there.
Damn.
And I mean, like murdered. They fucking buried him. They put a fan belt on their fucking neck to sink him and shit. I mean, like,
oh shit. Damn. Yeah, they like really fucking murdered him. Like,
and they knew that. And it was fucking virtue signaling, which they always want to bitch about. You talking about virtue signaling? That's some virtue signaling for your ass right there.
Right. Yeah, dude, that's sick. And that's why they went there specifically, was because of that.
But it's the whole thing. If they don't specifically say it, they don't have to. They just it's their actions, and people know it's it's dog whistling. Well, now it's megaphone. They're not even trying to hide it much anymore. They keep getting worse.
Yeah, especially lately, and I'm wondering how much worse it's going to get now that. I mean, at least people. I've even seen. It was weird though. I have a friend that I debate with, and he's a conservative. Hardcore conservative, right? And I'll debate him, quite a bit, here and there on the online and things. And one of his people on his page, was coming out and defending Nick Fuentes and was like, he hasn't actually said anything racist. And shit. I was like, what? Like, this is great. And then he was arguing with him to be like, no, he's bad. Yeah, dude's bad news. He definitely is a white supremacist and this, that, and the other, right? And the dude's like, nah, what has he said? Show me one thing. And he pulled up like 5 or 6 things. He said, yeah. And it was just like, that hand wave and every little, it's like, it's not racist unless you're saying that you you're admittedly a racist and you want people to die or whatever.
That's why I'm not one of those people, and each person their own. I'm not the type of person who has the patience for debating people like that because they don't care. Debating is a waste of time. They've got their shit mindset already.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's absolutely no point because you're platforming. And then of course that's a whole other argument, whether you should be platforming people or not. I get that. But
right. Yeah. And that's, it is a tough one because it really can get complicated pretty quick. Cause you want to be able to have the conversation and push back and everything. But if, as far as platforming goes, it can look really bad. That's almost why Nick Fuentes is a thing right now. Is because what's his name? Destiny. He had platformed him to debate him, and it breathed new life into his little minions. And now look at him, he's with Kanye West and shit. So there is some serious consequences to shit like that, So but yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, so I don't know. It is crazy to me that they're just, the way these people think is just insane and dangerous. And Fox News is at the top of the stochastic terrorists, playbook here,
They love that shit.
Oh yeah. So it said this is where it goes off the rails here. It's like the Bible, however, has plenty to say about the dangers of spiritual evil and its number one perpetrator, Satan.
So let's scroll back up for a second. I just want to see something. Scroll back to the before the picture or whatever. Was that the end of a section?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so muddled because they have so many fucking ads. It's like hard to see like where
I
you're at.
wish they would say after this, it's where we start doing the Christian fucking propaganda part, so I can
Right.
just not read that.
So we could just skip, yeah, because it's
Can I
like
just
that.
not read that part? Because the first part was straight news almost, but here we go with the propaganda. You might as well just say that.
Right? Yeah, because it just completely goes crazy at this point. You're right. Because the beginning was just a regular news story. And then now it's fucking like it's like, okay, now let's go into what Christians believe about Satan completely. Like as if that has anything to do with what we're talking about here. Jesus. Um, so yeah, okay. So the Bible and it calls the devil, the Bible now, calls the devil father of lies, whose real power rests in his ability to deceive. Readers of the Bible know that the devil's first appearance on creation's stage is in the Garden of Eden, tempting Adam and Eve in the infamous fall from grace.
Never specifically stated.
Yeah, I
Ever.
don't.
The
He's the
serpent
serpent,
was never named. Never. You don't know who the fuck that was.
right? Yeah, just it almost the way that the original story tells it was like that. Just this thing, this the creature, like kind of became sentient and was just like, I'm just gonna go against my creator or whatever, right? That's the way it seemed to me. But
I mean, it may have been Satan. Don't get me wrong. I don't fucking know, and I don't fucking care.
well,
The
I mean, he
point is,
wasn't even conceived yet when that one was written. But yeah,
see, I don't know. It's all fucking made up. If you're gonna make some shit up, at least make up something coherent. You know.
right, yeah. No, I feel because I don't, but I don't think because that's the Hebrew. That was like based on the Hebrew books, right? And I don't think they have a Satan in the Jewish
Yeah,
religion.
Judaism doesn't, as far as I know, does not have a Satan like we understand it.
Okay, yeah, and that and
I'm
pretty
not
much
well versed enough in Judaism to tell you for sure, but
no, yeah, I'm not either. To be honest, I just know we like Christianity is just basically like a bastardization of Judaism, where we just kicked out a bunch of their books, added a bunch of ours, and went from there. But Satan in the form, see here, it's Satan in the form of a serpent convinces the ancestral humans to defy God's decree to not eat the fruit of a tree.
wait a minute. What's ancestral mean?
I don't ancestral.
Can
Oh,
we read that back? I'm sorry.
okay,
What is it?
yeah, no, you're Satan in the form of a certain serpent convinces the ancestral humans to defy God's decree. Yeah, that's a really weird adjective right there.
What does that mean? Ancestral.
Ancestral. I guess because we all came from them or something. They're trying to say like
But
we
why say ancestral? Humans, by that definition, are ancestral. Why the fuck do you guys say it again?
exactly. It's sort of
You know?
redundant, right? Like Jesus. Oh, it's kind of funny. Yeah, that was really odd. Like reading through that the first time. I thought like at first they were trying to say like a ethereal or something, like magical, like I don't
Doesn't even make any goddamn sense.
know. No.
Ancestral human. Guess what? Those are the first humans. So how the fuck could they have any ancestors?
That's what
That
exactly.
makes no goddamn sense. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because if they were ancestral, it'd be ancestral of something else, and they weren't at all. Like,
I think they
they were
just
the
got the
first.
word wrong. I think they just used the wrong word.
Dude, you'd be
Honestly.
surprised how often that happens in these things. Like, I'll like reread a sentence out loud like 3 times, being like, "Did I fucking read that wrong? Is my dyslexia kicking in or what?" Like, nope, it's just written by an idiot. I don't know. you know. That ancient act, the Bible says, ushered into creation disease, decay, death, and all sorts of crippling sins that separate humans from God. Well, that seems like a bad plan just from the get go, if I'm, being honest here. But the Genesis story leaves one clue as to how it will be resolved. Now, this is insane. Tell me what you think of this, but this was like the craziest shit. I've never heard this before. I went to church and everything several times a week, like my entire life up until a couple years ago. And I've never heard this one before, so it was very odd. But and how the world will someday be redeemed. It will happen during a key meeting between God and Satan. Key meeting, sure, yeah. At the business, at, at the corporation, sometime in the centuries ahead, that a descendant of Eve will bruise Satan's head whilst
Doesn't even make any goddamn sense.
A descendant of Eve will bruise Satan's head while Satan shall bruise his heel. Fucking what? What is that? I do not remember this at all.
And they just okay, let's do it again. But the Genesis story leaves one clue. And the world will someday be redeemed. It'll happen during the key meeting between God and Satan sometime in the centuries ahead. Okay, well, that gives you a lot of leg room. It's only been like, what, 200 centuries at this point? 2100?
Right.
2100 years by this point. But that doesn't even make... Part of the problem is the translation. I mean, because there are some translations that are better than others.
True.
Another problem is the Bible just makes no goddamn fucking sense in the first place.
Yeah.
It's repetitive. It just isn't good. It's not good writing.
No.
And so it makes it difficult.
It's all over the place, and it's been rewritten and retranslated and and just everything else, like over and over and over again. And it's like, it's amazing it says anything at all at this point, like there is anything coherent in that fucking thing. Which there is a little bit of, I mean, it's like mostly in like Kings and shit like that, where it's just a historical, just
but
like
I could have gotten that from fucking literally anything. I mean, I don't know. People who claim that the Bible is somehow, well, it's good in this part, is it though? The only part, maybe Psalms. I can guarantee you most of those Psalms are jacked from some other religion.
Probably, yeah. I could see that.
I'm just saying, all I'm saying is historical shit, and whatever came from the Pentateuch, the first 5 books,
Yeah.
And just the basic stuff. Anything other than that is just... And don't get me wrong, the first 5 books suck too.
Yeah, they're pretty bad now.
But there's
but it's a lot of them. Like, oh man, I was just reading that one story with the talking donkey. It doesn't even make narrative sense. Like, it doesn't, like, even from like just this is a story that people told. Like, at least Star Wars has some internal consistency, right? It's like, at least they're it's making, but like. God told this guy to go do a thing, or he was, that's right. He asked God if he could go do a thing, and God like said no. And then he asked him again, and he said, yes, go ahead. And then when he went to do it, God stopped him. He put the talk, he had the talking donkey stop him in the road to, not let him pass or whatever. But he told him he could go, and then other parts of the Bible are saying that you can repeatedly ask God for a thing, and it's actually good to repeatedly ask. It's just
quit bugging me.
Exactly. So it's just insane. Like, it doesn't even make narrative sense. It's fucking sad. But geez Louise. So that cryptic verse in scripture has spawned many religious discussions. But according to most theologians, that crushing and bruising happens in the New Testament, and the encounter begins in another garden, the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus is betrayed and arrested. Major stretch. There's no possible. What the fuck does like Satan getting bruised and stuff like have to do with anything about Jesus' story at all? Wow.
Well, they try to like make it fit. The idea is the Old Testament is supposed to like predict the New Testament or whatever. It's all bullshit. They gotta try to like make shit fit even if it doesn't fit. Because it's bullshit. It's not really a prequel or whatever. It's not like it's fucking
No,
the
it was
prequels to
never
Star Wars.
connected. Right,
You know,
exactly. Yeah, at least the prequels of Star Wars were written to be the prequels of Star Wars. This is all post hoc rationalization well after the fact, or just like, oh, this word could possibly mean that other thing over here. And it's like, dude, if you know anything about like just the way our brains work, if you're looking for something, you're gonna fucking find it. Now, is it true what you found? No, most of the time not. But if you set out to like find a thing, your brain's going to find it. Your brain's going to be like, got it. This means that. And that's it. And it's none of it's real or true. It's just you trying to find a pattern. And that's what our brains are best at. But the victor.
Pareidolia, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. The victory over Satan occurs on the cross where Jesus is put to death and where death itself, the true enemy, was defeated with Jesus's resurrection from the dead. But we all still die though, dude. Like that doesn't
I think they mean spiritual death is what they're saying.
Oh, okay. Which you don't die as a spirit. So again, like you're supposed to live forever.
You go to hell and like it's spiritual death.
It's like right, okay. Eternal punishment is like same thing as death, I guess. Okay. But it doesn't mean Satan isn't still dangerous. He's like a wounded animal. John Stott, the noted English theologian, used Satan's depiction in the Bible's apocalyptic book, Revelation, to explain why Satan is still a danger to us. Okay. It's because we live in the overlap of the ages between the world of a fallen creation and the new heavens and new earth that Jesus brought. So we've been in between there for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's like we're in the in between part. You mean like regular shit?
Exactly, just like all of time.
I don't understand what you're trying to say here. I mean,
oh god. Oh, and here's where they get this wrong. Satan. It says Satan. The term itself means evil. This is not the influence.
It's just blatantly wrong.
That's false.
And easily checkable.
Right.
This is just that's what makes me so pissed off is that they're so lazy that they just think people are going to buy their shit because they've been doing it for so long. Guess what? We got the internet now. Not that necessarily means anything, but we can find shit out better now. It's not like back in the old days where we had to listen to you, the priest, because nobody knew how to speak Latin and shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
We can look shit up for ourselves. We don't need you to tell us. I want to find out my own bullshit.
Right.
Rather than somebody telling me the bullshit.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's honestly led to the decline of religion just in general, is just being able to look up shit. And, because a lot of this is like has to do with them just hoping that people won't look anything up. That's like what this is all based on. I can just tell them a thing and they won't look it up because they respect me that much. And people just don't do that anymore.
What was the tree? What was the name of that tree? Knowledge of good and evil. Isn't that the name of the tree they weren't supposed to eat from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing shit. That's the whole metaphor, man.
Right. Yeah. Just knowing the difference between good and evil. God's like, I don't know if I should let him know about that type of thing. Like, really, man? Like, it's okay. But said Satan as the red dragon and his legion of fallen angels are still engaged in a spiritual battle with God's image bearers, us.
Where is that from?
But that he knows his time is short, in quotations. And that says Revelation 12:12.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a totally reliable book by some guy who's almost either insane or on acid.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I heard that.
Or something.
Right. Oh, yeah, the ergot. I actually heard too that the island of Patmos. I'd have to look this up further, but I hear that it's like one of the first places where mushrooms were like appeared. Where people started talking about magic mushrooms. So, he might have been shitting in the prison there, and then just was hungry and started tripping. That's what
I don't know, man. I don't know.
The devil, Stott also said, has been defeated and dethroned. However, the rage he feels in the knowledge of his approaching doom leads him to redouble his activities in quotes. I don't know why they do the weirdest shit with the with like when they write it. They have so many things like in brackets and quotes and just it's just so weird. But
They're not very good writers generally.
yeah, that's exactly. This is like victory over him has been won, but painful conflict with him continues. And how is it won? Okay.
It's
The-
not one.
It's like, he literally says a thing and then says the opposite of that thing like 2 seconds later.
If it was one, we wouldn't have to go through the final battle or wherever the fuck it is. That's
Exactly.
in Revelations. That's what the whole book's about.
Right. Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Kaufman and other Christian theologians say the real spiritual danger is in believing Satan doesn't exist. Yeah, it's like that. The greatest, was it the greatest lie?
The greatest lie devil ever told is that he didn't exist or something.
Yeah, stupid.
Something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's pretty much it. Okay. You can fight against what you know, but not what you believe is not there at all. Yeah, okay. So I'll give you that one. Kaufman also says that says of the Satanic Temple, they're doing the work of Satan, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, because this is what Satan would do. Satan, the term itself, means evil. Nope.
No, it does not. God, that drives me insane.
Yeah. And this is not the influence you want to bring upon your children. It's crazy how this one news story, just about like an after school club that's not Christian or whatever and happens to be put on by the Satanic Temple. They do all of this work to be like, and that's why this is evil. You know what I mean? Like they're supposed to just report the fucking news, but no, they got.
I had no illusion. Come on, no illusion. I had no illusion. Now I can't say it. No illusions that this was going to be anything other than propaganda. I just didn't know it was going to take half an article of actually reporting the news before it happened. So
yeah, it's like that is like
maybe. I don't know. I'll take what I can get right now.
I know, right? Like, Jesus. Yeah, I mean, and that's Fox News' whole thing. It's a whole bait and switch type of situation where every single thing is like, oh, here's a little true thing that happened the other day. And then here's all of the, reasons why you have to think what we want you to think about it kind of thing, But, after school, Satan clubs have not been that popular. The school said 2 students from the same family attended the first meeting in January. Those same 2 students attended the second meeting last week. And I don't know what the point of that was. That was the end of the article right there.
That's the end of the article?
I think so. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that was it. I know it's so hard to tell with all these fucking ads.
They just basically that wasn't even a good ending.
No, it was just supposed to be like a little gotcha of like, and they're not even that cool. Like people don't even like them.
That's not even like, God damn it, I could write better. I wonder how much she gets paid.
Right? Who was this one? Like, because I usually will acknowledge whoever it is that wrote it. I didn't even see a name though.
No, it was at the end, wasn't it?
It was at the end. Oh,
no,
here it is.
Right there.
Lauren Green. Okay.
No, the whitest chick name ever.
Yeah, and
hey, Lauren.
Right, and you could see it too. Like she is a white lady. But yeah, that was, I don't know. It's always fun to me to see. This is actually, I think. Oh no, it's a second. No. This is my first Fox News. Yeah, that was some other. But another one that I did was some other propaganda shit. So yeah, this is my first Fox News, so that's cool, and it is by definition a Christian article. Okay, so it counts, right?
Does
I mean,
it does, but not. I'm just being a dick. Technically, say that After
Right?
school Satan club. I mean, it doesn't sit there and say this is going to be Christian propaganda in the second half.
Right.
That would be
No.
truth in advertising, but that's not going to happen.
No, but
But
I mean, you do got the answer in Genesis right here. To kind of preface the,
well,
you
they
know,
would say, well, it just caters to whatever you like. So I mean, that's on you, bruh. You know, that's what they're trying to say.
right.
Maybe
Which
Jesus
that
wants you to do it.
maybe shit.
Eh? Didn't think about that shit, did you?
You could witness to people, and save souls,
Shit, that shit
Uh,
ain't working.
no. Well, yeah, it says the battle for kids' minds is won at home. That's the
That's true. You're
yeah,
absolutely right.
yeah, that's true. So why are y'all so worried about what your kids, your parent or teachers say? Your kids' teachers. Why are you
But
so worried about
they're giving away the game. They're saying the quiet part out loud.
it? Right?
They know off the top that you get kids when they're young, and that's exactly what they do. Get
Yep.
them when they're young.
I mean, it's really the only way. Like I say, like that's the only way you can get people to hear this shit and go, okay, yeah, that's not insane, because 90% of the stuff they say is just ridiculous. We would just based on like our own lives, what we can see in reality, we're like, yeah, none of that's real, you know. Um, but the only way to do that is if you have some impressionable kid that you've conditioned to believe crazy things that make no sense.
It's harder and harder to get that though, because that damn internet, you can find things out.
That's
That
right.
ain't Christian. That ain't Christian. Only Jesus and the Bible is all I need, except those porn mags I get sometimes. You know, they're the
Exactly.
ones. Southern states and Utah are like the biggest consumers of online porn.
Dude, I was reading something about like Pornhub did some kind of like metric, right? Where it was like saying like where the most views come from, right? And it was
Yeah.
like, what did you say? It was Utah. It was one of them, right?
Utah in the South, basically, is what.
Okay, like the more southern the state,
The
the
more
more.
religious the state,
Yep.
somehow, which never made sense. You're last on every metric: child mortality, education, you know, general, age disparities. I mean, everything that you can measure shit in for a state, they're last in. So Jesus wants you to be the worst in everything?
Right, that's a good point. I bet you so Satanists that are taking down the
Well,
numbers.
okay,
That's what
I
that is.
say that. The world doesn't matter. I see Jesus as my Lord. I don't recognize any immortal authority. And
Exactly.
that's what it comes down to.
Right. Well, hey man, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
You bet. So tell everybody where we can find your show.
The Postmodern Polymaths Podcast is on YouTube. It's also, I have a webpage, postmodernpolymaths.com. You can find most of that stuff, and I'm on, Apple and all the podcast places or whatever. It's been a while since I've done this show though, but there's still like 200 of them out there. So.
Jeez. Okay. Wow. Holy shit. Yeah, it's a pretty big catalog. A lot to go through. Well, hey, thanks again. We always do this sign off, right? And basically, I say who we're gonna say fuck off to, and then you and I say fuck off together.
Okay.
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 So here they go. So what do we say to the haters, discriminators, and masturbator shamers? Fuck off.
Off.
Perfect.